What is up, World Wrestling Vlog crew? I hope everyone is having a great evening. Um, our evening is much better than our earlier day was. For those of y'all that saw Fermented Friday, you know what I'm talking about. It's been a rough morning around Moonlight Studios, but we're recovering. We had some fried chicken from Bojangles and some sweet tea. Soak up some of that alcohol, and we're starting to come around. But oh boy, yeah, the mafia put it on us last night. Real quick,
Bojangles.
So I cut my teeth in coaching wrestling in the state of Tennessee, and coaching high school wrestling specifically. And today was the state finals for Scholastic Folk Style Wrestling in the state of Tennessee. So just hats off to all those excellent wrestlers that will one day be excellent pro wrestlers. Maybe not. That won state and those that were able to compete at state. So very cool. And, that's where it all starts. No matter where folks end up, a lot of UFC dreams are started there, and a lot of world wrestling entertainment dreams are started there. So congratulations to all those folks.
Can we do a little segue real quick?
Go ahead.
Speaking of wrestlers from Tennessee, need to wish a great big happy birthday to one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time from Memphis, Tennessee originally, the 21-time heavyweight champion of the world, the one and only, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair.
Woo! Styling and profiling. Can't hold these gators down, baby.
No, it was the best. Oh my gosh.
He spilt more champagne and been with more women, and I can't remember all. He said so many awesome lines, but oh man, can't hold these gators down. Can't hold them down, baby. Men want to be like him, and women want to be with him.
There you go.
Hide your wives and hide your daughters. Woo! All right, so Mr. Timmy Ray, always first in the chat. Good to see you. I like that you're rocking the New World Order icon. Too sweet for life, baby, for life. Yeah. Too sweet,
Daddy.
Scissor me, Paul Ass.
I did.
All right. And there we are. We've got the most beautiful and elegant ring valet of all, Miss Chastity from the Moonlight Adventures. Another outstanding, beautiful ring valet, Miss Meg herself, who is also a fantastic moderator. Jeffrey, Jamestown baseball commissioner. I think that whistle was for you.
Probably.
No, sir.
I think it's for me.
Keep drinking.
Hey, I was downloading some foot pics earlier, and yeah. Jay.
Hope you like them.
I feel like to be on a cruise with this guy.
Oh, man.
15 days. Less than 15 days.
So to get started here, guys, I don't know. And there's Miss Lillian Tittle. Welcome in. Good to see you. Good to have you. Thank you for coming in. So the Wrestling Observer, which is our friend, Mr. Meltzer, just released his awards for 2022. And we're going to talk about those tonight, as well as some predictions for AEW Revolution coming up, and which was a fantastic segue into who Mr. Meltzer thought the Wrestler of the Year was. I am the best blader ever because I'm going to let you see it live and in color, John Moxley, Mr. Gigger himself. Yeah. What do you think about that, Paul?
I think Mr. Meltzer needs to watch more wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't get it. Moxley was a botch machine last week. Couldn't even make it down a stair without falling. And I don't know. I was once a Moxley fan.
I'm not saying he's not good.
I could still enjoy him in small doses.
Yes, sir.
Man, the same match every week really gets old. I do enjoy trying to figure out where he's hiding his blade. I do like that. That's a fun game I like to play. But how you feel about it, Billy?
Yeah, definitely not wrestler of the year. I assume we're going to go through this list. This list is very pro AEW and anti WWE. So,
yeah, Meltzer is a Buckaroos bootlicker, Mark, whatever you want to call him. So yeah, he's definitely pro AEW.
Well, the guy had nothing on there. I know I'm in the minority here, but he had nothing on there. Even which I might need to go read the article all the way through. You see how he came about this stuff. There's no mention on there about anybody from NWA, and they've had some killer matches over there the last year.
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Paul. And we'll get down this list, but I mean, you've got things on here about Mexican wrestling. You have wrestlers on here from this Sayuri, I believe she is from the what is that women's wrestling promotion that they have in Japan. But I mean, you have. He can't say that he's not recognizing promotions of a certain size or recognition or whatever when he's recognizing some smaller ones. And I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, NWA is, in my opinion, is not a small one. They're not insignificant. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what goes on in the mind of Dave Meltzer anymore. Used to be the guy that everyone looked to and the source of truth and fact in pro wrestling. And he's definitely biased now.
No doubt.
You're right, Jeffrey. Barry Windham did have a heart attack. But, I mean, are you talking about recently he had more complications, or is it just from where he's still recovering? I haven't seen that he's had any more complications, but that he is recovering from the heart attack he had earlier. Timmy Ray, I'll go ahead and answer this for you. Yeah, I saw that video that you sent over, the VHS tape. Give me a quick second because I want to pull it up and speak to it specifically. But yeah, so Timmy Ray, he's talking about Goldberg here, and this was during the taping of Nitro, and he was there. He was there.
Was it in Des Moines, Iowa? Because I was at a Nitro taping of Bill Goldberg too, front row.
This was late Nitro when they had changed the WCW logo and everything. But what I can tell you, it froze up on me. What I can tell you, Timmy Ray, is that by the time that was being recorded, I was probably not watching wrestling because I was working late every day. We had our first child, me and Chastity, in '99, and I was working before that. So in the late '90s, unfortunately, I don't want to say unfortunately, it's fortunate because Dylan, he's the son we had, and I'm happy about that. But I was working way too much to care about wrestling. There was no DVRing. There was, none of that kind of stuff. We didn't own a VCR to record on, so it was what it was. I didn't really get back to watching wrestling until quite a bit later when my kids started getting back into it. So I missed pretty much all the end of WCW and I missed all of the ruthless aggression era. I didn't get to see any of that. Don't know if I missed a whole lot, really. That's kind of beginning of the end for professional wrestling at that level, but it wasn't terrible from what I've seen. All right. One more question here from Timmy Ray. We'll get back into this list. Paul, his question for you is, whatever happened to Terry Taylor, and is he still alive?
Terry Taylor, yes, sir. He's still alive and despised by Jim Cornette.
Yeah.
Last I heard, I heard anything when he was with TNA. I don't know if he's still there behind the scenes. He's been behind the scenes for years, pretty much any place that would have him. WWE, WCW. I'm sure he's working somewhere, just behind the scenes.
Yeah. I mean, it's a niche what they do, and there's very few people that if they have that capability to do what they do, that they couldn't get hired unless you're somebody like Vince Russo.
Terry Taylor is a NXT coach.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. So he's doing well. All right. So moving on to the list. So Wrestler of the Year, we wholeheartedly disagree with. Tag Team of the Year, they have FTR here. For me, I'm halfway agreeing and halfway not agreeing. I don't think FTR gets Tag Team of the Year without the Briscoes. But he does mention
I'll go with that
later on. I guess you do give them Tag Team of the Year because they were more renowned and they held, the amount of titles they held. You can't discount what they did. And the Wrestling Observer Awards, I don't know when he finalized this, but if you knew or had knowledge of Jay Briscoe's death, do you not just give that to the Briscoes? I don't know. How you feel about it, Billy J?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably agree with you on that. I could probably take a couple WWE tag teams that might fit in that as well, but
you mean like Otis and Gable?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I'm going to tell you, you talking about WWE tag teams. I like Imperium. I like the way those two guys work.
Yep.
I mean, there's something about it that feels old school to me, and man, I like it. I like it a lot. I like that whole Imperium trio. Gunther, he's one of my favorites through and through. A lot of Killer Kowalski vibes going on with him, in my opinion. That's kind of what I feel. Kind of reminds you of when he was heavier, he kind of had a Gorilla Monsoon way about him, just because you knew he was bad and strong, but he didn't have the physique. But now he has the physique. Women's MVP of the year. I can't say that I know who this lady is. Sayuri. So I'm going to go to the Googler. I mean, if I don't know who she is, can she really be Women's Wrestler of the Year? Okay, so Sayuri Kondo is a Japanese professional wrestler, shoot boxer, kickboxer, and mixed martial artist. Pro Wrestling Fandom says that she's known as the Karate Girl, KG. She currently, is she even wrestling? I mean, this site that I'm looking on says she hasn't wrestled since 2016. Huh. There we go. She's on PWA, though. So she is on PWA. She did top the list on PWI as well. Did I say PWA?
Yes.
Yeah, PWI. She tops the list. Who does she wrestle with? Stardom.
New Japan Pro Wrestling.
New Japan and Stardom is the all-female Japanese promotion that I was telling you guys about. So I think I did watch her. I think I saw her wrestle. What's her name? Thunder Rosa, when Thunder Rosa was traveling with the belt. But yeah, I don't know. I think
she would have got
there's
it.
a couple in WWE that have something to say about that. I think there's definitely a couple in AEW that have something to say about that. I don't know. Kenneth Oakes, welcome in, my friend. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. And he is not able to tag because he's on his phone. Say it ain't so, Ken. Timmy Ray, Josh, you know who I think would be the world champion of the year? That is Goldberg. When Goldberg's starting in WCW, nobody could beat him. 50-0 world champion. I'll tell you what, he was strong and he was over, and it was sold very well.
Actually, Goldberg was never 50-0.
Say it. Tell me.
So Goldberg actually lost a match on a Saturday night show. I don't know, just a few matches into his career, and everybody forgot about it. They started that 20-0 and all that push.
He also lost. It wasn't a loss in the record books because he pinned Lord Steven Regal, but Steven Regal showed him what for real.
Yes, sir, and got fired for it.
Yeah, he did.
Which proves my point. Just because you're bigger and you're stronger, don't mean you're going to win.
Let me tell you, if you've been trained in shoot fighting and shoot wrestling, like Regal has, and the catch and catch can, and you're legit, your grip strength is crazy, and your quickness and the things that you can do. I mean, there's no comparison. All right, let's see. Most outstanding wrestler of the year. Okay. We got a wrestler of the year. I guess that's the main thing here. I guess this is second place, right? Most outstanding wrestler of the year. Will Ospreay.
I like him.
Yeah, I do like Will Ospreay. I've been impressed every time I've watched Ospreay wrestle this year. And year after year, Meltzer has put Kenny Omega over, and Omega's not even on the list. Of course, Omega was hurt the majority of this year too. But, Will definitely outshined Mr. Omega. And to be honest with you, out of all the wrestlers that are out there, with the exception of a few, I'll go out of my way to watch Will Ospreay right now.
Yes, sir.
I like watching him. He's good. He's solid. I'll do the same for Cody. I get excited when Cody comes on. I get excited when MJF comes out. There's very few wrestlers that if they're going to be on. Bryan Danielson is another one. I'm going to watch Bryan Danielson every time he's out there. I'm going to stop whatever I'm doing and pay complete attention to the match. And Will Ospreay falls into that category.
We need another Monday Night War or something.
I think it's getting there. I kind of disagree with, and I know that I sound like an AEW mark, and I'm really not, because really I think the wrestling product overall in a WWE ring is better. It's the presentation that sucks. But with regard to AEW, I think it's a little more raw, a little more authentic in certain spots, and in some spots it's just foolishness. But I think what people like Jim Cornette are missing out on, and now I'm going to sound a lot like Meltzer, is things like YouTube, streaming, all those kind of things. And of course, we don't know all the stats for WWE and what they do on Peacock either. But WWE still has the big numbers if you look by the old metrics. but I'd be interested to see the real pound for pound numbers of all the business that both of the entities do. I think it would be a little closer than we think it is. But
Could be.
yeah, but I mean, there are some shocking things. So what they consider their big stars, like the Young Bucks, a couple of weeks ago in one of their shows and one of the Bucks matches, I mean, they lost like 400,000 viewers as soon as from the time the Bucks came on to the time the Bucks left.
I was one of those.
When they brought that match where they had the basketballs, I just how would you handle that, Billy J?
Walk out of the building.
You wouldn't be a part of it, I'm sure. Well,
No,
you probably would be the AEW.
well, I'm getting paid. I'll do it, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, you think Bryce Remsburg is down for everything that goes on there?
Probably not. Definitely not.
He's money helps a lot of things.
Sure does.
All right. Rookie of the year. I agree with this one. Bron Breakker.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, there's no more standout star than Bron Breakker. Who else would you put up against him? Hook. I don't think Hook compares. You can put Action Andretti up there. Definitely doesn't compare. What new wrestlers did they have in WWE that I'm not tracking that could be part of that discussion?
Mysterio's son.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, God.
Flunky of the year? Is that what we're talking about? He's actually turned into a really good Stoogie Heel, though.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nobody. I mean, he's doing his job as a heel. People hate him. But Braun, have you seen some of these backstage recordings of Braun getting into it with what's the guy's name that he's feuding with right now? The Englishman or the Irishman. I wish I could. He was fighting AJ Styles earlier in the year. Anyway, I mean they've gotten some legit shoot incidents, in the performance center. So there's some real heat there. So I don't think you want to test Bron Breakker. I don't. If he's half as bad as his dad is, that's a bad dude. Best non-wrestler of the year. I don't think we'll get any pushback here either. Paul Heyman. No, not you, Billy. And Paul, I don't know that he's ever done any. I don't think he's ever done better work than he's doing right now. He's so over the top with the tribal chief and God mode and praying to Roman when he's doing his thing and like. It's something to watch. I don't, in today's wrestling world where we don't have a whole lot of ring valets and managers, I don't know we'll ever see any. I mean, you better watch all the Paul Heyman you can while he's still doing what he's doing. Because I get the vibes of like Paul Bearer, like if we would have known that we only had Paul Bearer for the amount of time we had, we would have savored every moment, So you better savor it while Paul is still doing what he's doing.
Yep.
I mean, can either one of you think of anybody else who was a non-wrestler? I mean, Tony Khan?
No, not to.
He's already on the list a couple times.
You just made the list. I mean, so Orange Cassidy? Could he go on there?
Biggest joke.
Oh, it's really frustrating because I don't know if you watched Rampage this week. He actually did a fantastic job of wrestling with Wheeler Yuta. I mean, it was a good match. And then he had to do the stupid stuff, and I can't. Oh my God!
So who would you rather watch, Pockets or Young Bucks?
Young Bucks.
I'd rather watch the Young Bucks double super kick pockets. How about that?
I've seen the Young Bucks have good matches.
Pretty good matches. Yeah.
I have seen it with my own two eyes. All right. We're getting Timmy Ray's getting aggravated with us.
Oh.
No.
Cowboy Paul. My dad Charles wants to know what happened to Steve Williams because he said he remembers him back from Mid-South.
Unfortunately, one of my favorite wrestlers growing up, and didn't know it at the time, but from all the stories I've heard, one of the I hate to be barbaric and vulgar vocabulary on here, but sometimes you got to call a spade a spade. Dr. Death Steve Williams, one of the most legit badasses ever walked the face of the planet, especially in wrestling. Unfortunately, he passed away. He had throat cancer, and it really got to him. He got real down and all, and I think it was end of 2009 or early in 2010, unfortunately. But he was absolutely one of my favorites. Dude was he was tougher than a $2 steak, man. And him and Terry Gordy, they ripped Japan apart over there.
Terry Gordy. There was, speaking of Terry Gordy, there was some interesting conversation on the Jim Cornette podcast this week about, well, it wasn't this week. I think I'm about 2 weeks behind, but we're talking about teenage wrestling sensations, and that
Terry Gordy
was that was Paul or Jim's number one was Terry Gordy.
13 or 14 down in Mississippi or Alabama won.
Yeah, and his point was not only was he a teenage wrestler, but he was put into top guy roles at that age. That's how good he was. Welcome in, Eric. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you.
Back to Dr. Death Steve Williams. I did step in the ring with him once back in Iowa. He was a very nice guy outside the ring and great inside the ring too, even towards his end of his career.
Yeah. One of dadgummit. One of never mind. Move on to the next thing. I don't know why I probably do know why I'm so scatterbrained.
Well, he was a collegiate champion wrestler too.
He was
an All-American football player.
And that's why I was trying to. I don't know why in the world I'm drawing blanks here. Probably because I've been looking at too many pictures of Billy's feet.
Probably.
I'm going to kick myself whenever I. Jesus.
I'll kick you.
Moving on.
That just goes back to those Mid-South days. There were guys down there. I don't know if they went to bars looking to fight or just that people always wanted to try them. But they had him, Hercules, Matt Bourne, Buzz Sawyer, and them. And they just cleaned bars out down there in Alexandria, Lafayette, and all that.
Yeah, but what? I mean, they worked for Watts, didn't they? So
yeah, so if they lost, they were gone.
Yeah,
Cowboy would fire them.
You did not lose fights for him, from what I understand. Legit bad dude. But yeah, I mean, that was one of Jim Ross's favorites. Being a proud Oklahoman, Dr. Death Steve Williams, and his best days, from what I understand, and you said it, New Japan. Before he was so beat up, because his knees apparently were pretty bad by the time he had his runs here. And then, of course, the Tough Enough didn't help anything for him.
No.
All right, moving on. Match of the year. Okada versus Will Ospreay at G1 Climax. I don't know. Now, I'm going to tell you, I like me some Okada. That is my favorite Japanese wrestler right now. Has been my favorite Japanese wrestler for a long time.
He's good.
I don't know that I would doubt this. I mean, but best match in 22 that I watched, so the Briscoes and FTR had some barn burners. The Punk MJF match was a really good one. the Brock and Roman match at SummerSlam. I really enjoyed that one. I don't know if it's match of the year, but I mean, it was really good. I just don't, I saw not the replay, but the highlights of this match that they're talking about. And yeah, it was good. I mean, I don't know enough about it to say if it really was the best or not. What do you guys think? What were your best matches of the year that you saw?
I would go with Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins, Hell in a Cell, with Cody and his torn pectoral.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. I think that match really helped get Cody back over in WWE.
Yeah. Seen some really good Gunther matches this year too. I mean, but was that? Let's see. No. Gunther and Sheamus. That was still 22. That was a good one. All right. Moving on. Feud of the year, or no, worst match of the year. Sorry, worst match of the year. I probably agree with this one, except for some pockets matches I've saw. But Vince McMahon versus Pat McAfee at WrestleMania. I mean, so I'm looking at this through the scope of David Meltzer, and he's probably just wanting to throw shade on Vince McMahon, and you'll see here toward the end. I mean, because nobody expected that to be a good match, right? So,
well, I don't know if it's the worst, but I'd say the biggest letdown to me was some of that Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar stuff, because those two should be able to tear the house down together.
Yeah, and to take a Jim Cornette phrase, the finishes in their last few matches have fell flatter than a plate full of piss. Yeah, I mean, it's not good. And I don't get it. I don't know if we're trying to bury Brock, because they seem to be pushing Bobby. So it can't be that they're, I don't know. I've seen some rumors that folks believe that there's going to be a feud between the Wyatt Six, which, what is the Wyatt Six? Have we even seen any indication that there's going to be six of these people? And the newly established Hurt Business. That could be good.
Yes, sir.
However, I would rather see Bobby and the Hurt Business go against some folks that are not supernatural. But whatever. If Bobby's getting used in a main guy role, I'm down for it. Feud of the year: FTR versus the Briscoes. I can't disagree with that.
My favorite one. I'm not saying it's the best, because I haven't watched wrestling every week. I haven't watched it from all over the world every week, but my favorite to watch is definitely FTR and Briscoes, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really a styles clash, but it is in a way, because they both apply pro wrestling psychology, but their move sets are so unique and different. But and both of them will still go outside the ring and use furniture, but they use it in a way that's called for and that makes sense, and they sell appropriately.
Yes, sir.
They just don't. There's no holes in any of these matches if you watch them. I mean, it's just. I mean, I'm really sad that I'm never going to get to see the Briscoes ever again. I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Mark. Trying to think of who they could team Mark up with and get some of that same magic back.
Billy Gunn.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about for longevity. I mean, if I'm, if I'm Tony Khan, I'm trying to find somebody that you can remake that Briscoe magic with.
That's gonna be tough.
Yeah, I mean, it'll never be the same, but I don't know. If they had Kevin Steen, Kevin Owens, maybe you could do it there. I could kind of see that working, because they both have so many moves that are just off the wall, and they can steal everybody's moves. I mean, it's got to be a down and dirty kind of guy. It can't just be, you can't have Mr. Clean Supercut you know, working. Well, I mean, maybe you could. The Rock and Sock Connection was fantastic. That was some good stuff. I really enjoyed the Rock and Sock Connection. But you know, who would you guys? Let me think about that one for a minute. Who would you put with Mark Briscoe?
Kenny Omega.
Oh God! I'm about to scissor his head off.
Pockets.
No.
Will Ospreay?
Yeah, I mean, it could work. I mean, they would complement each other for sure.
Prince Devitt, or excuse me, Finn Balor now, I guess.
Yeah,
if he'd go back to Prince Devitt style, that might could work.
They could. I thought about this because I really like this guy. So, you know, you got the Butcher and the Blade. I like the Butcher. I think the Butcher is a fantastic pro wrestler. The Blade is, I mean, he's a jobber. But those two would look good together. And I think you could recapture some of the magic with that. I feel like the Butcher is waiting for the right person to kind of get him back into where he was at. I don't know. And where, you know, I was thinking about this the other day. Where is Miro? Where'd he go? That's another one that might could work. Miro and Mark Briscoe. I don't know. I know that there were some things that were said by Miro's wife that upset, I think, both Tony Khan and Vince McMahon. Awesome. Thank you. Dirt Track Race Car Buddy. Thanks for watching, man. And
thank you.
Hey, I love Dirt Track late model racing. Used to go all over the place. My guy, Scott Bloomquist, still to this day. All right. Moving on this atrocious list. I mean, some of it's good, but worst feud of the year, The Miz versus Dexter Lumis. I've got one worse for you. So, you know, the Pac and what's his name? The little dude, the little English guy that wears purple all the time, that wore the box on his head. That's how bad it is. Can't even remember the guy.
Gosh.
He's an AEW guy, and he sucks.
What happened to gentleman Jack Gallagher? Any y'all know?
Oh, I don't know, but he was good.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, I like Kip Sabian.
When they first started that 205 thing, man, they had a house full of talent over.
Yeah, and I mean I liked a lot of his work. A lot of his work was really good. But he's just disappeared. That's a good question. I wonder if he's doing some stuff over if he's back home.
He was released by WWE in 2020, but I don't see anything else from him.
A gentleman, Jack Gallagher. Oh, that's not him. That's a different. He's going to try. So he is working as in the bare knuckle fighting championships. But he was released amid sexual assault allegations.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, but you know what? I mean, they get rid of him, and but you know what? We'll bring back Vince. That's okay.
Yep.
Yep.
You was talking about dirt track, and you know you left off the greatest dirt tracker of all time, y'all. Brewster Baker.
Oh.
That's for your time, Billy. You don't know Brewster.
I know, way before my time.
So Six Pack was filmed.
There he is.
at one of our home racetracks. So Dixie Speedway in Woodstock, Georgia. Used to go there all the time as a kid. Yeah, Brewster Baker. Timmy Ray. What we got here? His dad's buddy Darren wanted to ask whatever happened to Adrian Street. So he was Adrian Street was at the Clash at the Castle. They actually featured him there for a minute, and
one time was running a wrestling school, and selling wrestling gear down at Billy's part of the world, down there at Gulf Breeze.
Well, he works for NXT right now, so he was doing all the NXT UK stuff, training those guys. But I think now he actually works for NXT proper in the States.
I guarantee they got a training. I would promise you they got a training from him.
Man,
That's one legit tough guy.
He was good. Yeah, Miz and Dexter Lumis. Yeah, that one was weird too. I kind of agree with that one.
Yep.
Technical Wrestler of the Year, Bryan Danielson.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
I mean, who? I don't know. I mean, who else can you call a technical wrestler today?
Yeah, good point.
I mean, Bryan Danielson, he's there. I actually like Daniel Garcia. He's had some great matches. He's pretty technical, but with this JAS stuff, he's not as much. I think Josh Woods could be in that conversation. And a couple of weeks ago on AEW, they brought back. Man, I keep drawing blanks on these guys. It's a dude that was in NXT for a little while. I'm gonna look this up so I don't forget, because it's the first time I had seen him wrestle, and I had heard things about him from folks like Cornette. Bryan Danielson.
Well, this guy you was talking about, Braun Breaker. That's Rob's son, right? Rick Steiner.
Yes.
Yes.
Does he have the collegiate background like Rick and Scott had, or?
I think he played football at Kennesaw State, but he did wrestle in high school. I don't remember what his record was in high school. Man, I wish I could remember this guy's name now. I hate having these moments here where I just draw complete blanks. Chastity's used to it. I blank out all the time.
Killing those brain cells with that drinking.
There we go. Timothy Thatcher.
Somebody drinking last night? Billy, did you get drunk last night? Come on, man.
On Diet Mountain Dew, yes.
Just a little bit. But yeah, so Danielson and Timothy Thatcher went after it, and that was good. I mean, that was back and forth, highly technical. And again, it's the first time I'd saw Thatcher. He's been working over in New Japan, but he's good. I think you could throw. I know this is going to be funny, but you could throw Gable into that. But he just, he doesn't get opportunities to show it anymore. But I mean, as far as the work, I guess if, like back in the day, if you wanted to see a highly technical match, you were going to watch Malenko.
Yes, sir.
Now, if you want to see a highly technical match, you probably default to Danielson right away.
That's what I was going to say. It makes me really, really, really miss the early days of WCW Nitro.
Yeah.
I know I sound like a broken record, but the little guys carried that show.
Malenko could go. Malenko could definitely go. And I mean, Rey Mysterio back then, I mean, he's still impressive, but I can remember watching the Lucha stuff, him and Jushin Thunder Liger and
Juventud Guerrera.
Yeah, Juventud. Yes. For somebody that had never seen Lucha in their whole life, I was just like, holy moly, what is going on here? Which leads us into High Flyer of the Year, El Hijo del Vikingo.
King
I turned you guys on to him when we were talking about the top wrestler list. I like this little dude. He reminds me a lot of Rey Mysterio in his early days. But he has a little bit of a power edge, I believe, on Mysterio. But High Flyer of the Year, I don't know. I mean, who's made more noise? I mean, you've got You've got Ricochet that has to be considered as part of that. I think you still have to consider Rey Mysterio. I mean, he's not had a terrible year. Seth Rollins, do you consider him a high flyer? I don't know.
No.
Not really. What about
one just retired, but I don't know that he was technically a high flyer. He'd go up top, but he could also mat wrestle you to death.
Muta?
Just wrestled his last match. Yes, sir. The Great Muta.
Yeah. Great Muta. Yeah. But I'm surprised that Uncle Dave didn't put over the Bucks or, one of those here. There's a couple. I mean, AEW has a couple high flyers. Andretti. So I was watching Andretti on the Friday Rampage show. Is it the Rampage? Yeah, the Friday Rampage show. He reminds me a lot of a young AJ Styles. That's who he really reminds me of.
Before the soccer mom hairdo.
Yeah, he kind of looks like a Karen. Yeah. But I mean, he's going to be okay because he has some personality. Kind of reminds you of young Jericho a little bit too. It's kind of in that same vein. I think that's why Jericho was okay with him going over on him. And I don't know. We'll see. Gimmick of the year: Sami Zayn, honorary Uce.
I actually like that one. I like that.
I think that's a good one. I mean, that's what has made more money, what has sold more tickets, what has gotten more views than the work that Sami Zayn has done as the honorary Uce. Nothing. It pulled me back into watching WWE. I pretty much gave up on it, other than watching some of the pay-per-views if there was big matches. But I'll sit down and I'll watch a SmackDown or a Raw if I know that Sami Zayn's going to be part of it. Worst gimmick of the year. Definitely agree with this. The maximum male models. Man, they were trying to bury LA Knight. Yeah. Let me talk to you. It's like, geez, man. I mean, I've seen LA Knight. I saw when he first came on the national scene in Impact when he was Eli Drake. Yeah. And he's always had, I mean, he's great. Always great on the mic, good in-ring work. And then they do this maximum male models thing. You know he was hating life. So, yeah, I mean, other than Pockets, Pockets is a terrible gimmick. Another terrible gimmick is the House of Black. I don't know. Why do they continue to do that crap? I have no idea. Any other gimmicks you think can top the maximum male models?
Not right offhand.
Billy says the Cowboy is the worst gimmick.
Yes, worst gimmick ever.
I didn't ask for this gimmick. I don't know where anybody ever got the idea I was a cowboy. Truth be told, I might make an average chuck wagon cook out on the trail. I couldn't cowboy to save my life.
Most improved wrestler of the year, the Acclaimed. Well, there's two wrestlers.
Yeah.
I tell you, I hate to say this. It pains me to say this, but I have to say Dom Mysterio is probably where I would go with that. I mean, he's still sloppy, but he's
not as sloppy.
I mean, maybe the slop is part of the gimmick, because I mean, everybody. I don't know. But he's embraced what he is. He's embraced his stooginess, and I think that's an improvement because before he was trying to act like he was over, and I think now he's realized that people don't accept that, so he's just going to be a stooge. So that's okay. Other improved wrestlers. I tell you, Ricky Starks. Now I don't know if you could say he's improved because I think he's always been pretty good, but his character has improved. That's for sure. That's another one I enjoy watching. I like watching some Ricky Starks. All right. Most underrated wrestler. I can probably agree with this. Konosuke Takeshita. This is Mr. Takeshita. He is good, and he probably doesn't get enough recognition because of where he wrestles, when what he wrestles on. I think there's some guys in MLW like Jacob Fatu. I think Hammerstein can go into that equation. I think there's some guys like Elias. I think Elias is very underrated.
Yep.
I like his work. I think he has a good mix of things he can do off the top rope and power moves, along with a tried and true gimmick. I mean, there's been the Guitar Man gimmick has been used throughout the years, and
But how many can play it?
Yeah,
he can. He's a legit guitar player.
He has an album. I don't know if you know that or not, but he has a whole album.
I do now.
He's better than okay.
Yeah, he is.
But he'll never be the world's okayest.
He's better.
Because you know what those three letters stand for, right? Walk with Elias.
With Elias, exactly. I loved that gimmick. I mean, I really did. I loved it. I'm not a gimmicky guy, but I loved that when it worked.
If you you have something when you can speak things and the crowd finish it for you, like
exactly.
You've got to over gimmick.
You ain't got to be good. You just got to get over.
That's right.
There's a lot of good wrestlers never got over, unfortunately.
I mean, and there's a lot of wrestlers that weren't that great in the ring. Michael P.S. Hayes, but he got all his gimmicks over, and he was a great persona.
Yep. Well, luckily they put him with Buddy Jack Roberts that took the butt kicking, and with Terry Gordy behind you, ain't a whole lot of people gonna talk a lot of smack to you.
No.
I mean,
no. Most overrated wrestler of the year. Ronda Rousey. Again, I think he's trying to knock WWE here, but I don't totally disagree.
I think she could take his number one wrestler of the year.
Definitely.
Moxley.
Hardcore dude. I mean, like, just because he's been in death matches, that makes him some kind of fighter. No, he's not. I would say you could put Pockets here. Yeah, I love me some Pockets. I say you could put Kenny Omega here. The Bucks. You could probably put. Some folks would like to say you could put the Miz here. I'm not a Miz hater though.
I still say some of his work with Dolph Ziggler. That stuff was just out of this world good. Those two were perfect together. I don't know what amateur background Miz does, but I know Dolph has some, and he got to showcase it against Miz a couple times.
So Miz was a basketball player, but he grew up in Ohio.
So he wrestled in.
Yeah, he grew up in and around it. He definitely, knew enough, I mean, you always wonder if they played basketball, they probably didn't wrestle quite as much. But, I can guarantee you that if somebody was kind of like Braun Breaker, so he's a football player. Well, what did all the football coaches try to get all the football players to do? Wrestle. Wrestling makes you better at pretty much any sport because you learn how to use your hips. You're gonna excel in every other sport. I'm a wrestling coach, man. What can I say? It's all about the hips, right, Billy?
And my feet.
And your feet. All about my hips and Billy's feet. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot you could put in here as far as overrated wrestlers. There's a lot of female wrestlers that could go in there, and I don't say that to sound sexist. It's just I think there are enough female wrestlers to have a good show full of females. I don't think there's enough female wrestlers to go around for all the promotions, though. Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
It's a shame, And Jim Cornette said something the other day on his podcast that made a lot of sense. He said, there's a lot more bad female wrestlers that are able to get on TV in a main spot, even a mid-card spot on national television, than bad male wrestlers, and that's a problem.
Just go back to the Diva era. I'm sorry, I hate to speak ill of anybody. I know that I really don't, other than Pockets. That Diva era was straight trash.
Yeah.
It was about one thing, and I'll keep this G-rated, yo. It was about TNA, pure and simple. TNA.
Not the company.
I was talking to Mr. Superstar Bill Dundee one night at his fine establishment up in Camden, Tennessee. Exit 126 on Interstate 40, which is no longer there. Great cheeseburger in that place, by the way, and entertainment. And me and him were talking because he had all his wrestling stuff up on the wall. He said, if I want to see TNA, I come to a place like this. I'm like, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, I've seen some great female wrestling, but it's when the great female wrestlers are in there together. I mean, Rousey and Charlotte can put on a good match.
Oh, yes.
I'd like to see, Britt Baker and some of those in AEW come up. That's the thing. There's a handful of these lady wrestlers that if they were all on the same promotion, you could probably give equal time to the females, but they're not all on the same promotion, and it needs to be, if you want equality, then it should be equal. Equality and equity are not the same thing. If we're giving you equality, you have the same opportunity. So you still have to be good. It doesn't matter if you're, female, male, whatever. But anyway, I'm gonna get myself in trouble if I keep talking. But you know what I'm saying? Because I'll watch Becky, I'll watch Charlotte, I'll watch Lacey Evans. I'll watch Britt Baker. All of those ladies can go. I'll even go so far as to say I'll watch the Nightingale girl. She's pretty doggone good too. But I don't want to see two women dance around and halfway throw somebody into a corner, and it's just. I also won't go watch midgets wrestle.
Oh, come on now.
Well,
You've never seen a wrestling match that you've seen an over the bottom rope midget battle royal. The excitement is just too much.
There's a lot of things I'll watch midgets do, but wrestling, I just
It used to be a thing in Dallas, right? On Friday nights was midget wrestling. Ed McLemore specialized in it.
There's been some good stuff. I know. What's the Lord Littlefoot or Littlebrook? Yeah, I know. There's
Little Beaver.
Not going to touch that one. Hey, the little dude that used to come out with the luchadors or whatever their name. It wasn't the luchadors. Remember the dude with the bull horns, the little bull. He was pretty good.
Yep.
All right. Overrated. Best weekly show of the year, Dynamite. Yeah. Anybody agree with that?
That's the 1 hour show, right?
No, Dynamite is the big show from those days.
Oh.
When it's good, it is the best show. When it's good. But they're not consistent enough for me to say that they're the best. I feel like SmackDown has more consistently, even though they may not be crazy good, they're always decent consistently decent. But Dynamite's like great, terrible, great, terrible. I mean, they'll put things like, Pockets defending the freaking All Atlantic Championship that for some reason has a Japanese flag on it. Crap on there.
That championship threw me off for a while there. I thought it was a salute back to the JCP days for a while there, though Mid-Atlantic, because it was the Mid-Atlantic territory for a long time before it became that. And I thought, well, wow, they're, doing a little salute back then. I figured out, no, they ain't what they mean by that.
Yeah. It was a good concept. But Tony, being a mark for Japanese wrestling, he had to figure out how to include a Pacific Island as part of the All Atlantic Championship. So there we go. We get Japan. Japan's not really a Pacific Island, is it? There are Pacific Islands off Japan, but isn't Japan a peninsula? I don't know. I'm not Jules Verne or
I think you're right.
Magellan. But sounded good. Okay. Worst weekly show of the year. Now I agree with this. Raw. I struggle to get through Raw. And number one, it's poorly put together. It's 3 hours, and Corey Graves screams the entire time, and it's highly scripted what he screams. Corey Graves to me is the worst thing on Raw. And I used to like Graves, but
I did too. He used to, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not. And the thing is, Kevin Kelly could be good with him. I don't know. I want to go back to like the Gordon Soley days and look at how they did it. Because I feel like back then you had your color guy who was loud and boisterous, your Gorilla Monsoon, your Bobby Heenan, Jerry Lawler, even. And then you had your play-by-play guy, and like
Jim Ross.
Yeah, I think Kevin Kelly is trying to be that play-by-play guy, but he is so down here with his tone and his mannerisms, and Corey is so high up. It's annoying. There are times I just turn the television down and just glance up while I'm working on other things because I don't want to hear Corey Graves.
We were blessed to grow up in the time we did and watching the people we watch. I mean, we truly did get to enjoy maybe not the golden age of professional wrestling, but it was a golden age of professional wrestling.
I mean, Corey Graves is making Michael Cole look like a stud. I mean, I used to complain about Cole, and you know what? I'd much rather listen to Cole. It's bad. Best major show of the year, The Forbidden Door. No, sir. That's not it. You're very wrong there.
I put some NWA shows above that.
Yeah, Elimination Chamber. Last year's Elimination Chamber. That one's hard to think about because of the time of year but yeah, the Clash at the Castle was pretty amazing. Maybe not all banger matches, but it was an impressive scene. It was as impressive as a WrestleMania to me. SummerSlam, the Card of Honor that Ring of Honor did during the WrestleMania time frame was a great show. Forbidden Door, no, sir. Sorry, you missed it. Worst major show of the year, Royal Rumble. Yeah, you're probably right on that one. The Rumble, ever since so they kind of peaked at AJ Styles in the common or the later era for me. Like, so AJ came over to WWE. That was a huge moment, and they haven't had a moment like that in a Royal Rumble that I've seen since. And yeah, the Royal Rumble always kind of falls flat for me. this year was okay. I liked the moment that Cody got to have. And I thought the Sammy match was really good. But hang on. That was elimination.
Bonus points for either one of y'all that can answer. Who was the first winner of the Royal Rumble?
First winner of the Royal Hacksaw, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
You got it?
Oh,
Go, Josh. Tough guy.
Oh! Okay. Move of the year: Will Ospreay's Hidden Blade. Is that the one where he does it's like a lethal injection kind of thing?
no.
Is that what that is?
Isn't that a typo? Shouldn't it be John Moxley's Hidden Blade?
Yeah. It's not so hidden though. That's the problem. Have you seen all the videos on Botchamania of all the different places he's pulled his blade out from?
Yep.
And then this week's edition of Botchamania, you had, was it Bryce? I think it was Bryce that handed a blade over to Kensuke Takeshita. Kensuke, however you say that guy's name.
I've done that before.
You probably didn't do it as blatant as they did.
No, probably not.
Yeah. All right. Ospreay's Hidden Blade. Move of the year. So, do you guys have any other things that you'd like to throw in here that you think is a better move of the year?
Not right offhand, I don't guess.
I like Scissor Me Timbers.
Scissor Me.
Have you seen the Scissor Me Timbers?
I haven't.
So, the one acclaimed guy spreads the legs apart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then the other acclaimed, boom, so they Scissor Me Timbers. Orange Punch. How about that for move of the year? No. Not so much. I do like the one-winged angel that Kenny Omega does. I like that. I've always liked the Styles Clash. But this is Ospreay's year, man. So I guess that's why he's getting so much love here. That's okay. I like Ospreay. I like Kenny Kingston's stretch plum. It's a good workman's move. It doesn't take a whole lot to do, but it looks painful. It looks real. But they're burying Kenny Kingston right now for some reason. I don't know what he's done to make people mad, but he's done something. Announcer of the year, Kevin Kelly. No. No.
Sock face.
No. JR still does good work.
That he does.
I don't know who's announcing over on. Does Austin Idol do some announcing over on NWA?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he's probably pretty good. I hadn't watched enough NWA. Michael Cole has been about as good as anybody. Nobody's great right now. I enjoy Taz. But now Sockface and Taz seem to be focusing on making fun of Shivani the whole time during their stuff. I like Paul White, when the Big Show is announcing, but they never let him do anything except for the AEW Dark stuff. So, and then they've I don't know if Jim Ross has wanted to do a lighter schedule or what, but he only does Dynamite now. Or is it Dynamite? No, Rampage. I don't know. Worst announcer of the year, Corey Graves. It's pretty neck and neck between Corey Graves and Tony Schiavone for me. Tony Schiavone, he doesn't need to be at the announce desk. I'm not. Tony's not there. He's great doing what he does outside the ring. He'd be great in spurts here or there, but I don't know. He's almost as much of a mark as Sockface. Sockface is a mark for himself, though. That's what's wrong with him. Any other anybody else that you guys can think of for worst announcer of the year?
Tony Schiavone.
Yeah, Tony Schiavone.
Yeah.
That's me.
I agree.
Booker of the year. No surprise to anyone. Tony Khan. Can I say I believe that Triple Paul is the Booker of the year? Triple H, man. I mean, you can't. It's undeniable to look at the 180-degree change on WWE once he started booking again.
Yep.
Tony Khan's the best booker. I'm next in line to be the Pope.
I think if he would let someone help him, he could be. I mean, not
Jeff
really.
Jarrett.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got people around him.
Yeah. Promoter of the year, Tony Khan.
Absolutely. Self-promoter of the year, Bill Jensen.
Oh, man. I mean, is there a promoter in WWE? I mean, really, Tony may really be the only promoter, quote unquote. I mean, it's
Billy Corgan.
Yeah, Billy.
But, I mean, they do studio stuff, so.
Billy Corgan, Tony Khan, and you've got what's his name over there on Impact, which he's not in the running, but whoever the promoter for New Japan is needs to be considered because I'm gonna tell you, for me, if I wanted to hitch a horse to my wagon to do a new Monday Night War, I'd go with New Japan before I went with AEW.
Yeah.
I got a feeling that I don't know. It's going to be interesting here in the next 5 years to see what happens with New Japan. And, because I think when WWE sells, because they are going to sell, if they make the wrong move, I don't know how much more WWE we're going to see as we know it. Well, what's it going to turn into depending on who buys it? And how many people are going to jump ship like Triple H. All right. Best on interviews, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, because he's better than you, and you know it.
I go along with that.
Yeah, I don't think LA Knight's pretty good.
Yeah, true.
They really haven't done any interviews with Bray Wyatt. I mean, he's had good promos, but as far as interview goes, Roman's had some good ones, but MJF, yeah, he's got to be the best. He's the best in the business right now for me. He's up there with Flair in his prime to me. I'm a mark for MJF. Most disgusting promotional tactic of the year: Vince McMahon appears after sexual misconduct allegations.
Well, allegations are allegations.
Yeah, I mean, he paid them all off, so they're not allegated anymore, right?
Look at all the stuff we've heard about Billy J, and yet we tell it's just
I'm
allegations.
still here.
I have proof on my hard drive of Billy J's misconduct.
Yep. I'm proud of it.
And finally, the documentary of the year is Tales from the Territories.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. That's good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, they are. So good news with regard to that is not only are they renewing Tales of the Territories, but they're also going to renew Dark Side of the Ring. So we'll have new Dark Side of the Ring material coming out. Paul. I keep getting Paul and Jim Cornette mixed up, but Jim Cornette was saying on his podcast that he just did some tapings. And
All right.
so yeah, it's getting ready to have another show come out. All right, guys, I'm going to give you the independent screen for the indie referee Billy J. There you go. Solo layout for you. What do you have coming up?
I've actually been putting out some shorts, cruise shorts. They're only like 15 seconds long. Yeah. So I put 3 of them out, and I might put some more out. So check it out. I'm going to book or not book, but I'm going to check in on my cruise in about 15 minutes because I got a cruise coming up in 14 days. So, and jumping on. Fortunately, Paul's joining on the cruise.
No,
but
you're coming on my cruise.
No, it's my cruise. I'm the captain. Anyway,
let the record show I'm actually looking forward to cruising with Billy.
As am I. It hurts to say
I
that.
know you love cruising with you.
I hope you're looking forward to cruising with yourself.
I love cruising with myself, and among other things.
Brother Paul, what you got coming up?
I got a new episode of the Booze News coming up tomorrow evening at 6:45 Central Time, 7:45 Eastern Time, and that's pretty much it. I got some stuff I'm kicking around, some ideas. So if you get really bored tomorrow evening at 6:45 Central Standard Time and want something to kill time before the Moonlight Adventures, stop by and maybe we've put something together that can wet your whistle.
What you gonna be sipping on, Paul?
We're gonna do a little variation on the whiskey sour.
Oh, there you go. All right. So for us, of course, the World Wrestling Vlog, we're going to take the next couple of weeks off. We got folks cruising, to include myself and Cowboy Paul and Referee Billy J. So we won't be back for a little bit. Potentially, we won't be back until almost April, because I may or may not be going on a 2-week Oconus trip for work. So we'll see how that plays out. Tomorrow at 8 o'clock, Shooting the Breeze with Moonlight Adventures. That's me and Chastity on our main channel. Just released a vlog, side hustles for cruise money and travel money. Check that out. It's also over on Instacoach 757 if you want to go check that out. Next week, we will have Brian or Julie, I don't know which just yet. Brian or Julie from How We Cruise will be our Wow That Was Fast. If you haven't seen Antoinette's, we released Antoinette's this morning, and no one has beat Billy J yet. Billy J, he's the fastest. So yeah, he got there the fastest. And yeah, I mean, that's it. We get ready. So we're ready to go. We're checked in and everything, and we will be selling on the MSC Meraviglia. And man, ready. It seems like it's been years since I've been on a cruise ship. But me and Chastity, we're ready to go. We've got some new vlogging equipment. We got an Insta360 we're ready to try out. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome.
Before we get out of here, can I answer Timmy real quick?
Yeah, which one you want?
Faithful listener. I go for both of them, I guess. Both of them have passed away, unfortunately, Timmy. Butch Reed about 2 years ago. And I'm glad you put Mid-South on there for the nightmare, because there's been a half a gazillion nightmares throughout the history of wrestling. But the one in Mid-South was actually a well-known wrestler. It was a guy named Randy Cooley. He was Moondog.
The Moondog.
Moondog Rex or something like that. And believe it or not, he was the original guy that played the character Smash in Demolition. Oh. Everybody knew him from his WWF days. And when he come out, everybody started shouting Moondog, Moondog. So they replaced him with a guy named Barry Darso, who was Crusher Khrushchev, Crusher Darso, the Repo Man, Blacktop Bully. So there you go.
That was actually not a bad gimmick. I mean, who's a bigger heel than the Repo Man?
He repoed somebody's belt one time. I can't remember who it was.
That's awesome.
He didn't care. He was getting paid. Timmy, I'll tell you what, man, you strain my brain sometimes, some of these questions, man. I love answering them, but I'm going to tell you, you're going to stump me. I'm no Jim Cornette. I am not a walking, talking wrestling encyclopedia. And the only reason I know the people that you ask, especially if they died, is because more than likely Jim Cornette spoke about it, and that's where I picked it up from one of his podcasts. So I'm not a genius, y'all, by any shape, form, or fashion.
I would agree with that.
I never heard of a Bobo Brazil or Sputnik Monroe or anything until I started listening to Jim Cornette and started looking some of these things up.
Bobo was good.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what side of the aisle you prefer to listen to, you may not want to hear his politics, but
I love to hear his wrestling.
I don't care what I'll listen to it because I want to, whether I agree with what you're saying or not. I always like to hear other people's opinions. I don't have to agree with them to learn from them. So I find it interesting to listen to his take. I think he's as extreme with some of his views as some of my family are extreme on the other end.
Me too.
They all think
I love his wrestling talk. Oh, yeah. Man, he can talk that old wrestling.
Yes, he can. And Brian Last is fantastic too.
Yes, sir.
But hey, guys, thanks to each and every. Oh man, that was as pretty as you've been the whole time, Billy. Oh no, there was two Billy J. Holy moly! Hey, but thanks to everyone for coming in. Go on over and check out PSV Odyssey, Captain Billy J Travels, and the Moonlight Adventures. We thank each and every one of you for being here, especially you, Timmy Ray. We thank you so much for being here, faithful every week. Thank you, buddy.
Yes, sir.
World Wrestling Vlog, we're out.